So today we're going to make a loopy bow for this beautiful wreath. This is a 4.5 inch ribbon, so it's going to make a nice big bow. So you want to use a big bow like we did sort of in this on this wreath with the wide ribbon. You can find great ribbon at Two Friends. You can also find some at your local craft store. This ribbon has wire in it, so it's much easier to create a bow with a wired ribbon. So I'm going to do a looped bow, and I'm going to first look at about the size of loop that I might want on this wreath. So I feel like this, which is about a 6-inch bow, would be a really nice size for the size of this wreath and how fluffy this wreath is. So first what you do is create a tail. So I like a nice long tail. And so this will be where I'll start my bow. So I'm going to hold my left hand and just let the bow sit in my left hand, and then I'm going to create the bow from this point. So tail is over on this side, then I'm going to bring my hand around and create a loop, pinch it together, and then put it between my fingers. Then just slide it up, pinch, put between my fingers. So my loops are the same size. Then I'm going to slide up again, make another loop, pinch. And so you keep doing this and keep the loops close to the same size, but you can gradually get smaller. So the loops in the front of the bow end up being a little bit shorter and make a nice fluffy center. I like to do an odd number of loops total, so I tend to pick 5 and 6, 5 on one side, 6 on another. If your loops are smaller, you could do 4 and 5. If your loops are larger, you need to do about 9 and 10. You can judge when you're holding the ribbon about what size of loops about the number of loops you're going to need. This is important. This ribbon is the same pattern on both sides. So it's super easy for me just to make all of these loops. But if your ribbon is one-sided, when you grab it in your fingers, you're going to then need to make a full twist so that you then are circling back around to your decorated side of your ribbon. So that's important to keep in mind. It's just as easy, you just need to do a twist and a flip. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to do a 5 right here. See, I'm getting just a little bit smaller toward the front. 5 here, and then I'm going to do a 6th loop here. Now, some people like a little knot in the front. I'm not going to do that for this ribbon because it's a little bit wider. But if you're using a thin ribbon, like a 2.5, this is a little knot that goes right in the center. And so all you do as your very last loop, once you've gathered, is make a tiny loop. And then that would be the top of your bow and would be the center. So you make a tiny loop, but I'm not going to create that kind of a bow here. So I have all of my loops done. Then all I do is I'm using this sort of faux Fraser fur tie wire. And this makes it nice and easy. You can use wire or you can tie this with your ribbon, but I like to just use wire because it's going to be hidden when you put the bow on the wreath, and then you're not wasting a lot of ribbon trying to use the ribbon to tie the knot here. So I'm just going to, let's see, make sure you can see, I'm going to put my tie wire across the top, and then we'll go all the way down and underneath. So you've got to pull pretty hard, nice and tight, so this bow stays together while you're fluffing it. Then just 1 or 2 twists, and then I get this nice little V back here, and that allows me to attach it to the wreath. So I'm going to attach this, and then I'm going to show you how to fluff the ribbon. This is a dumb tip, but if you just let your ribbon fall to the floor, it's easier and it doesn't get twisted. If you're trying to hold it on a table, you're going to get a twist in the ribbon as you're working. So I just toss it on the floor and let it just, roll off evenly. Thank you. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, I've attached this to the wreath, and although it doesn't look that great right now, it's so easy to fluff this ribbon. So the best thing to do is stick your hand in here and open your hand up. And that actually just fluffs the bow, the loops, out beautifully. Remember that you've got wired ribbon, so you don't want to use any kind of bending or folding motion. You just want to spread it softly with your fingers. So see, it makes a really smooth open loop. And you just keep opening the loops and shifting them around till your bow is. Your shorter loops ended up in the front because they were on the top, so that's why you can see those right here. Larger loops are in the back. So I'm taking the ribbon and I'm twisting it. I've just got my hand spread out and twisting it so you get the flat front face of the ribbon. Remember, it's nice and tight inside there, so you can manipulate the ribbon a really good bit. Again, spread it out, open it up, open up the loops. Now if you end up with a loop that's a little larger, just kind of tuck it down in the center and then spread it out. And that way you still have a really even, pretty bow. So you can continue to manipulate your ribbon, play with it, fluff it. If it gets bumped or anything like that, it's really easy just to fluff it back out by spreading out the loops. Then you have your two tails here. I like a long tail. I also like to add in a third tail. Okay. So now I have 3 tails, and to trim the ends, I like to trim them by moving the ribbon facing up, even up your sides, fold it perfectly in half. Then you cut up or toward the end, so at this angle. So you just simply cut from the very middle of the ribbon, very gently. And then you get a perfect V. Then the best way to manipulate the ribbon is just gently rub your hands along the wire, or your fingers along the wire portion, and then you get a nice soft curl, or you can roll the ribbon up almost like it's on curlers, just gently, no bending, no sharp corners, and just kind of stretch it out a little bit and then let it go, and it will form a really pretty flip. And voila!